As long as I was going after the crooks that didn't have badges, I was everybody's hero.
Vic, it's good to see you. Here we are, the middle of September, almost the end of September.
It is good to see you, Jonathan. We haven't done one of these in a while. We were talking, and we feel like we owe it to our listeners.
Agreed.
Just to let them know we're still here.
We're still alive, Vic. We're
I'm
alive.
still
We're alive in here, man.
standing. Yeah, we're still here, and we're waiting for this pandemic to get better because we've got so many great. I was about to say witnesses. Guests. We have so many great guests lined up.
Yeah, witnesses. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, for our podcast, it's a primary source true crime podcast. So in a way, they are witnesses.
Yeah.
They're witnesses to some of the crimes, or witnesses to the trials, and they're witnesses to our society and
man.
Great people we've had like Hugh Ainsworth, man.
Hugh Ainsworth, or our last little series we did here with Mr. David Thibodeau.
But Hugh Ainsworth, back to Hugh. He wrote the book, The Only Living Witness.
He did.
Yeah, about Ted Bundy. If you haven't read it, go buy it. Man, it's a wonderful read, and Hugh could probably use the money, man. Go buy it. Buy my book. I could use the money.
Yeah, there you go.
Rhino, Sharks, and Unicorns. It's a great little book.
It is.
It's actually a spiritual self-help book that's hidden within a funny story about lawyers.
True.
Two young lawyers, an older lawyer. It's kind of goofy, it's kind of funny, but there's some deep spiritual truth in it, and even some exercises, some self-hypnosis exercises that I go entirely through the dialogue between two of the characters, showing you how to do your own self-hypnosis.
Really?
And get centered. Get control of you. Get control of fear. Cast fear out to self-actualize. Find your power and use it.
I like it, dude.
Yeah, that's Rhino, Sharks, and Unicorns. And then we've got David Thibodeau, man. David Thibodeau. Waco, a survivor's story. We've got how many episodes with David?
We have 4. We did 4.
4 episodes with
Riveting.
David Thibodeau.
I loved them.
Riveting. They're really good. They really are.
I like them.
Riveting.
I like David. He's a really cool dude.
He is a cool dude. And we have good news for our listeners.
News from the front. What is it?
We have gotten 2 more of these books. And guess what?
Are they signed by David?
Thank you, David. I love you, man.
Awesome.
David, if you're listening, vote for this podcast. Go to Waco Awards.
It's the Waco Awards. Yeah. So we're running to be the number 1 podcast here in Waco.
Yes, we have worldwide listeners. I'd like to get the listenership up in Waco. I really do, since most of it's about
a lot of it pertains to you guys here.
Waco, yeah. So, go in there and vote for us. You can vote every day.
Yeah, man.
One vote a day.
WacoAwards.com, and ask you what your favorite podcast is. Type in The Vic Feazell Show.
It's kind of like Texas was in the 1930s.
How's that?
You can vote more than once.
Oh, no.
You can. You can vote.
No.
Like some of the old politicians used to say, vote early and vote often.
Oh.
And you are my friend.
This place really was a Wild West.
But we have 2 more of these. They're autographed by David Thibodeau himself. The David Thibodeau, a man who I have so much respect for. And if you have not seen Waco, a survivor's story on Netflix, go watch it. It is so good. It had me riveted. I'm going to use that word again. Riveted.
I like it.
And I tell you, I'm going to watch it again. I'm just waiting until some of what I felt the last time subsides a little.
Yeah.
Because I get angry during that show.
It'll definitely evoke some emotion in
you. And not against the Davidians, but against
law enforcement.
Law enforcement. And there were so many good law enforcement people out there. Mm-hmm. There were good people out there who got pushed to the side by petty tyrants, actually.
Yes.
One of them who actually came and arrested me.
Yes, one of those petty tyrants.
Yeah.
So what do I have to do to get that book?
You tell us.
Oh, I was leading you, but all right, fair enough. Throw the ball this way. So all you have to do is leave us a review for the podcast. You can do it through, we use Apple Podcasts. Just leave a review. Give us some stars. Help us get up there in the algorithm. So leave us a nice review. Give us a rating, and we will send you a book. When you do the rating, also send us an email. You can go right to our website, submit an email with your name and address so we know where to send the book.
Yeah. Send the email to info@vicfeazell.com.
That's the one.
Because we only have 2 of these books. And we might wake up tomorrow and see that we've had 5 reviews.
First come, first serve.
But we only have 2 of these books. However,
Oh, we got some. What are these? What are these extra things?
we're just so lucky to have such good friends. We have one more book, Cult of Glory,
Oh, yeah, it's a good read.
and it is signed by the author, Doug Swanson.
Yeah,
And
man.
we had a podcast with Doug.
We did. Please go listen to it. It's good.
It is good. You need to listen to David Thibodeau again and listen to
Mr. Doug
Doug Swanson, who used to live in Texas. He wrote this book about the Texas Rangers, Cult of Glory.
Yeah.
Talk about cults. They tried to call the Davidians a cult. Well, he calls the Texas Rangers a cult.
Yeah, man.
And since he wrote that book, he's no longer living in Texas. He's living in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He's teaching at a university in
Up there at Penn.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he is.
Cool dude. Great
And
book.
We're trying to get him back. Want to have him on the show again.
Especially to talk about everything that's transpired since his book came out. Holy smokes.
Yeah, this book has had an impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
So,
has.
same rules.
Same
Leave
rules
a review.
apply.
Send us the email. If we're out of the Thibodeau books, we'll send you the Cult of Glory.
Yes.
And guess what, people?
What's that?
Unlike a lot of these folks who go, we'll send you absolutely free this item or this book, and all you have to do is pay $49 in shipping,
look at
you
that.
know, or even $8 in shipping. No, we're going to pay for the shipping because we love you. We appreciate you listening to us.
Yeah.
We appreciate you sticking with us during the dry times when we haven't been putting anything out.
Yeah, it's been tough.
We want to get our live witnesses. We want to
Live
get,
witnesses.
we want to get our live guests back in here.
We do.
And also, man, Jonathan, we've been busy.
We've been busy, man.
We've been busy.
People are wrecking into each other
We-
at record rates here in Texas.
We've been busy
Oh, God.
handling these lawsuits. And
Yeah.
these
lot
car
lot
wrecks.
going on, man.
Uh-huh.
Very busy.
Yeah, and also with COVID, folks, wow, I know it's affected your business too, and a lot of really great people have had to close, and it breaks my heart.
Yes.
And we've been struggling and working hard because what we used to be able to do with one step now takes 4 or 5.
Yes.
And some of the insurance companies are so taking advantage of this. It's unfair.
There's a lot. I mean, I don't think there's any listener that isn't being taken advantage of by some meaner method right now
Somebody.
during this. But insurance companies are the worst, dude.
Yeah.
And we talk about it all the time, but they really are the worst.
Yeah.
Like, they're really the worst.
And you experience it firsthand because you have to deal with some of these adjusters.
All we have to deal with insurance all the day, and they lie, cheat, steal, won't call you back. And I feel very bad for anybody who has State Farm insurance right now. Let's just say that. Let's just name them.
Well,
But insurance companies, and for our listeners' purpose, they're taking advantage of COVID in the method that they're very aware that the courts are closed to civil trials in most places. Criminal trials have kind of pittered on because they can do the Zoom thing, they can do the online stuff.
for pleas, but not for real trials. You want a real
Right.
trial, you may sit in a COVID infested jail for 900 days.
Correct.
We have one guy in McLennan County, and folks, this is wrong. I mean, there's no way to say it except WRONG, wrong. He sat in jail for 800 days.
No
And
way.
then they dismissed the case.
No.
Yes.
That's insane.
You know? And in a way, I think it's so unconstitutional in so many ways. I think the state of Texas bail bond system is unconstitutional under the federal constitution.
Right.
And I think putting people that could be bailed out in a COVID-infested jail is cruel and unusual punishment.
Oh, yeah. And then once they're in there, they won't let them out because the outbreaks are so bad. So then they're stuck in there.
So they're stuck.
It's crazy.
Our Constitution guarantees against cruel and unusual punishment. And that's for people who have been convicted.
Yeah.
Most of the people in that jail out there, they have not been convicted of anything.
Correct.
They've just been arrested. And in America, you are innocent until proven guilty.
Yep.
So they're presumed innocent, and they're sitting out there with a possible death sentence on them from COVID,
Yes.
and they can't bail out because of our draconian bail system in this state. And we have a governor who got mad trying to claim there ain't no COVID.
Yeah.
There ain't no COVID in Texas.
Oh, I like that little dance.
Yeah, well,
Just
thanks.
their little
Yeah.
dance. For those who are listening, please go to our YouTube channel so you can see Vic's dance just now. You're like,
There ain't no COVID in Texas, so we ain't going to let you bond out. That's what he said. Because many of our judges in this state who have a conscience and who understand the Constitution a little bit,
Yeah.
we're letting people out on their personal recognizance bond, especially those who are not a danger to the community.
Right.
You know, if there's not a danger that they're going to go out and commit some violent act or break into somebody's house, stick an ankle monitor on them and let them out.
There you go.
And if they're not, and there's a whole category, probably 50 to 80% of those that don't even need the ankle monitor, because that's just another way to rip off poor people.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what they charge that poor old guy to have to walk around with that ankle monitor on.
Oh. So if I get an ankle monitor, I have to pay for it?
You have to pay for it. It's a monthly fee.
No way!
Yes. And if you don't pay that monthly fee,
Yeah.
you're in violation of your bond conditions, and they will lock your butt up in a COVID-infested jail.
Perfect.
Named after
Perfect.
a man that I totally loved, Jack Harwell.
Yeah, we've talked about him a lot.
Jack Harwell, Sheriff Jack Harwell, one of the greatest human beings that ever lived.
Man, that's saying
he
something.
is rolling in his grave right now. Just that place out there is named after him.
Bears his name. Oh, that's not fair.
When I was DA, we had the one jail, and it was behind the courthouse.
Uh-huh.
You know, when I first started practicing law, there was a one jail, and it was on the top floor of the annex. That's all we
Was
needed.
that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so then it got put in that nice building behind the courthouse. And Jack or his chief deputy, Dan Weinberg, used to come and visit with me every day, and we'd look at the jail population because we wanted to keep it under the level so that the feds would not come in messing with us because we had too many people in too small a space. We go, does this guy really need to be in jail? Does that one really need to be in jail? And if they didn't, we'd lower their bond conditions or recommend to the court a PR bond
Right.
just to keep the jail population down. So, folks, it can be done. It can be done. It's
But it's
been
all about
done
money
before.
now, is it not? Especially with the privatization of prisons and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, heads on beds is what it's about now.
Yeah.
All those stockholders who own that prison, taking the name of Jack Harwell in vain, they want to make money. It's about profits. It's not about Constitution. It's not about conscience. It's about profit. Governor Abbott, wake up, sir. Ken Paxton, please wake up and do something to help get some of these nonviolent offenders. And they're really not even offenders if they haven't been found guilty yet.
Right.
Some of these people charged with nonviolent crimes, get them out of that jail. Get them out of the jail all the way across our country and quit lying to the people of this state, pretending that there's no COVID here. You know?
Well, and that's the worst part about being here in Waco, Vic, is like McLennan County and Waco region has some of the worst numbers of all of Texas, which places it high in the worst numbers probably in the country. So that's not good.
We've had 3 teachers out at Conley, just one of our school districts here. 3 teachers die.
That's crazy.
I love Conley. One of my first jobs out of law school was I was the city attorney for Lacey Lakeview.
Cool.
It sounded like a big deal, but it only made like $300 a month. But that kind of paid my rent back in those days.
Nice.
And I'd show up for traffic court and city council meetings. But I got to know the people over at Conley because they're right there near the Lacey Lakeview courthouse. And even while I've been a lawyer, I would know some of the policemen out there and would go out. I've got a Conley PD, Conley ISD police coffee cup in our conference room in the shelf. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And I have a coin for the Hill County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
That was given to me by my wonderful friend. I don't know if I should say his name.
Man, it's up to you.
Yeah.
It don't matter. But talking about damages, you want to go back to insurance?
Yeah.
So the moral of the tale is criminal system's jacked up as is, but it's slowly kind of pittering a little bit. Like there's a little movement versus the civil side that isn't. And so what we're dealing with the insurance companies is, bottom line is, you get in a wreck, what they're going to offer you to settle your case is going to be trash. It's going to be garbage. It's going to be below anything you could imagine, because right now we have no teeth, man. Because without the courts being open and the ability to process through these cases and go smoke the insurance companies in a courtroom, the ball's in their court, man. They can do whatever they want.
Tell the listeners what has been happening to you the last few weeks, just trying to get them on the telephone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, typically when you call up an insurance company right now, you can be put on hold for 40 plus minutes. And this is a case, too, where, how a personal injury case works. You get in a wreck, your client usually receives some kind of, medical treatment. At that point, we start to negotiate with an insurance company to get them fair value for their case. And so what we're seeing as a whole is the offers are low. Let's say you have $15,000 in medical bills. Perfect example for our listeners. The insurance companies right now is probably going to typically give you about $5,000. That's what their offers could be on your case. They don't even want to pay your medical bills, Vic.
I know.
They don't even want to pay half your medical bills.
They don't even want to pay half your medical bills.
And when you call them to say, hey, that's not even reasonable, that's not fair, they're going to put you on hold for 40 minutes, and odds are good they're not even going to call you back.
Sometimes they don't even answer the phone.
Majority of time, they don't.
It rings and rings and rings and rings until it just quits ringing.
It's insane.
Many times
it's not fair.
I know you've been on the phone 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, man.
And then the line go dead.
Yeah, it'll just go dead. They'll hang up on you. So, God forbid any of our listeners get in a car wreck here in Texas. Truly.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there are some insurance companies out there who are doing great. But there's some out there, and I hate to throw State Farm under the bus, but they are the worst. They are the worst. That just don't care.
Let me talk about State Farm.
Please do.
State Farm is who I'm with.
Right.
I've outlived so many agents.
Sure.
They sell, somebody else buy it, or they die, somebody else buys the firm. I started with my first State Farm policy, people. Oh, there's a camera. I keep looking at that.
Look at the monitor.
I started with State Farm when I was 16 years old.
Woo!
Yes. I was so excited. I had just bought my first car. I went into the bank in Georgetown, Texas, and took out a 6-month loan that they let me pay back at $10 a month. Sometimes they let me get by with $5 a month. I bought myself a 1955 Pontiac that I paid $195 for.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Great car. It was like a Sherman tank.
That's amazing.
It was a hell of a car. And my dad had arranged for our insurance.
Did it have seatbelts?
Oh, Lord, no. They hadn't. Seatbelts hadn't been invented yet.
It just had your arm?
No. Had no seatbelts. Now, it did have a blinker. Blinkers had been invented. But I do remember my mom sticking her hand out the window in a rainstorm just to let somebody know she was going to be making a left-hand turn.
Stunning.
That was right-hand turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have blinkers, but I had no seatbelts. Yeah. That thing was like a Sherman tank.
It was just straight metal. Just
Yeah, it was solid.
God.
And my insurance guy had come out. My dad had arranged for it. It was his insurance man.
Yeah.
Nice guy who lived in Georgetown. And by the way, thank you, Georgetown Bank, for being willing to give a 15-year-old kid a bank loan.
Yeah.
Life was so different then.
Yeah.
It was so different. Thank you, whoever you were at that bank on the square, or right down from the square in Georgetown.
Gave Vic his first set of wheels.
Gave me my first loan, yeah. And so I so wanted to be able to drive that car.
Yeah.
So the insurance man came out, and he had just bought a brand new red Volvo. Mm-hmm. And there were not any Volvos in Texas back then. That's a European car.
Sure.
And there just weren't many of those around. There were Volkswagens, and there's still so much animosity left from World War II that people that drove Volkswagen Beetles were discriminated against. Why are you driving that Hitler car? That's what they'd say.
Well.
And then the Volvo came along that was like, not really Nazi, but is it communist? That's the way people thought back then.
Yeah.
So anyway, we signed all the papers, and I said, am I insured? He said, you sure are. And I said, oh, wow. And I ran out to my car, and I jumped in, I started it, and as was my habit that I had developed over the last 3 days, I put it in reverse and backed up. Wham! I hit his Volvo.
No.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
So I go shuffling back into the house, and my dad and he are still sitting there drinking coffee. And I said, "Are you sure that I'm insured right now?" He said, "Oh, yeah, you're insured." I said, "I'm so glad because I just backed into your car."
Oh, no.
And he and my dad go, "This kid's funny. Guy, you're funny. You're so funny." I'm like, "No, I'm telling the truth." And we had to go out there. We had to take a big crowbar and move his fender off of his tire.
Holy
so he
smokes.
could drive home. My 55 Pontiac did not have a scratch on it.
No, I imagine not.
Not a scratch.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? So that's how long
That's
I've been
also
with State
terrible.
Farm.
Just day
16 years old, or 15. Yeah,
50.
yeah, because you could
15?
drive at 15 back then.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah, because I graduated from high
It's a
school when I
menace
was.
to the neighborhood you were.
I graduated from high school when I was 16. So yeah, I was 15.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And so from then on, it was always State Farm, always State Farm. And then when I got my first home, it was State Farm.
Yeah.
All my houses, even when I owned that $9,000 square foot monstrosity in
Yeah, man,
Austin.
that mansion. Good Lord.
Oh,
that place
I
is
know.
huge.
What was I thinking?
You're thinking,
gosh,
time to party is what you were thinking. Time for boat drinks.
You know, the taxes on that every year, boat drinks. The taxes on that every year you could buy a house for, just about. It's 33 grand a year just in taxes.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. Well, you used to could buy a house. That was before the Chip and Joanna. There's
Before the chip.
there's BCB and there's AC. No, not B. J.
There you go.
B. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
Oh.
CJ.
Yeah,
Yeah,
did you
Chip
want
and
to?
Joanna.
It's your
It was
show.
before Chip and Joanna, and it was after Chip and Joanna as far as houses. And I ain't bad mouthing them either. I love them. I think they've done a lot for our community, even
Clearly
though
stimulated the real estate prices.
they have. It's made it a lot harder for young people to get into a house.
Yeah, it's a whole
I bought my first house when I was
for a nickel.
in my 20s, just about. I paid $24,500.
That's ridiculous.
It was a 3-bedroom, bath and a half house over on Fairview.
Is that a nice part of town?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
It was like 2 blocks from Mountain View School, right off of Cobb's. Not far from the
These are
house
all
I
things I
lived
don't
in when
know.
I was DA.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Price.
So that's how long I've been with State Farm. This office building is financed by is insured by State Farm. Our general liability policy is State Farm. Everything except our legal malpractice policy.
Yeah, it's kind of a different
And
thing.
that's a different company. That's specialized. And that's just a waste of money for us because we never commit malpractice.
Correct.
We have such wonderful people. They're trained so well, and we have software that almost won't let you commit malpractice.
There you go.
And plus, we staff all of our cases all the time. We get together as a staff and talk about it. But we've had such trouble with State Farm. I called my agent. You were in the room with me.
I was. I was in the room.
He didn't answer, but I left him a voicemail. He hadn't heard back. I hadn't heard back from him, and I don't blame him
Yeah.
because I said, "I'm sorry, but I can't stay with you guys anymore. My conscience won't let me."
It's evil.
Not only are they treating the lawyers bad, not only are they treating the third party bad,
Which is the defendant.
the defendant, but they're treating their own clients bad.
Correct.
I've been preaching since this podcast started about how everybody needs UIM insurance,
Correct.
uninsured, underinsured
Correct.
insurance, because there's so many people driving now that don't have insurance.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of people that come in and say, "Oh, I got full coverage." No, they don't.
No, it's not. That's
They
what
got
your agent
liability.
tells you. Yeah, you have a very basic policy. That
Very
does not
basic
have-
liability policy. So demand, well, they have to offer it to you. It's the law. They have to offer it to you. And most time they say, sign here, sign here, sign here. And people sign without even looking. And you're signing away your right to have UIM.
Correct.
And it's cheap.
Yeah,
It's
man,
a lot
it's
cheaper.
like $4, $5, $6 a month, and I'll tell you, with my insurance, man, I think I pay $10 a month on the policy, probably even less. Not even joking, for 50,000, 100,000 coverage.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
It's pennies. Just
That's
do it.
money
Do it.
that will be paid to you for your medical bills
Correct.
if you're hit by an uninsured driver.
Correct. Or under, meaning
Or
if my
under.
medical bills are in excess of what their coverage is.
Yeah, I say their minimum policy of 30 doesn't cover your medical bills. And in today's world, It hardly ever does.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't upped the minimum rate in a long time in Texas. I remember when it was 20,000.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I remember when it was 10,000. Yeah, that's how old I am. Yeah.
Times have changed.
Times have changed. So anyway, I called my agent and I let him know. I said, I love you, dude, and I know this isn't your fault, but my conscience won't let me stay with State Farm anymore. So as my policies come up for renewal, I'm going with a different company.
Yeah, man.
Matter of fact, I'm going with the company you're with.
Because they're awesome.
They're awesome. They are better. I don't want to advertise for them. And I need to find out from you who your contact is so I can go ahead and start the process.
Done.
For change.
Done and done.
Yeah. It's Farm Bureau, but, Texas Farm Bureau.
Yeah, man, they're great.
Yeah, they're good people. And our friend, Jared.
Yeah, man.
Works out.
We had him way back in the day in our Michael Jared.
Michael Jared, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, with his last name Jared, I always think Jared is his first name.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Jared Michael. No, it's Michael Jared. And one of the reasons I love Michael Jared, two reasons. Number one, I never had to go to court against him because we'd have probably self-destructed each other because he's a good lawyer. But he's the one, he and Abel.
Correct.
And Abel's a damn good lawyer. He just made some bad decisions when he was DA, especially about that biker thing.
Yeah, the Twin Peaks
bad
shooting.
decision. I feel sorry for him on that. But he and Michael Jared retried the Graff case. Ed Graff.
Yes.
The guy who had burned up his two little stepsons in the backyard for the insurance money.
Ooh, I can't wait to do. We've talked about doing the series on that. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
505 Angel Fire.
But I don't want to do it until the pandemic is over because I'd like to get Claire, their mother, to be our guest. Mm-hmm. And she is just such a great and wonderful person. And it was my office, the DA's office, not the police, but with a lot of great help from the fire department. I got to tell you.
Oh yeah,
they were good because they had just gotten a brand new camera. Uh-huh. And this one fireman took that expensive camera and went straight on, looking down, click, straight on, click, looking down, and took one step all the way around the entire perimeter of that burned down shed. Yeah. And there was so much evidence preserved within those photographs. Mm-hmm. It's just so good what you can do. That old adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's not true. It's probably worth 1,000,000 words.
And a conviction.
Yeah, and a conviction. Hey. And in this case, 2 convictions, because his case got reversed on a technicality, and in a whole bunch of other cases that got reversed, not just because of his trial. And if they'd have looked at it a little closer, I don't think they would have reversed his, but they threw the baby out with the bathwater, which so often happens. Yeah. But yes, I'm going to stay away from State Farm. I don't want the karma of being even associated with them anymore.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So think about it, people, and think about what company you're with. If you try to call them, and I'm not talking about your agent. Most all the agents are really great guys. They're salesmen.
Yeah, man, they're salesmen. They're not the ones who evaluate your case. Yeah. Not the same person.
They don't make the decisions. So it breaks my heart to hurt my agent's feelings and take that business away because I like him.
But take it away from that monster.
I have to because
it doesn't serve the public. It doesn't serve anybody, man. Get him out of there.
Yeah. And it shows that even at my age, I can change.
There you go.
I can do something different.
And if one of our listeners works for State Farm, I hate State Farm.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what capacity. You know, every organization has its good people, but they're getting told what to do from the top down.
It's not fair, man.
It's not fair.
In all truth, you are correct in that, you know, if you're an insurance adjuster, you're given a certain amount of leash and you can't extend it. You know, so when you do talk to insurance adjusters on a claim, if they ever actually pick up the phone or call you back, you know, the $5,000 offer on $15,000 in medical bills, you're correct. It's usually someone up the line who says that's what you're allowed to offer. Mm-hmm. That's what you can do. And that's not fair.
And the insurance companies, like the private prison companies, are owned by stockholders. Yeah. And the people at the top of these corporations are sitting out on their yachts, drinking their boat drinks.
I love that. Boat drinks.
And laughing about how stupid we all are.
Watch them fight amongst themselves. Yeah, let's let them go.
Yeah. For letting them get away with it. You know. And then we have somebody like Greg Abbott and Ken Paxson. And let me tell you, I've gotten to the place where I don't endorse either political party anymore.
You know what's funny about Greg Abbott, though? Back in the day, my band played his inauguration party. There was a Lady Antebellum was the name of the other band. It was us and them.
I know them.
And we played the inauguration. It's the only time I've ever seen the guy in real life. But I was there, played it.
Well,
never done that.
We've had 3 educators die out at Conley.
Yep.
And now we've got Paxton and Abbott suing that school district and 2 other school districts here over their mask mandates. One of the schools they sued doesn't even have a mask mandate. What?
Wait, what?
Yeah, and they sued them anyway.
What? Somebody didn't do their homework.
Somebody didn't do their homework.
How many kids got masks on? Too many.
It's all become so political that we're losing the rule of law.
Or really common sense.
We're losing common sense.
Go fundamental.
But if you look at the real law, what it ought to be,
yes,
we usually follow common sense. It may take 100 years to get there, but usually it'll come around. Martin Luther King Jr., the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.
Beep.
Beep. Amen.
Can I get a hallelujah?
Yeah, seriously. And don't preach me down. Don't shout me down just because I'm preaching good.
Don't shout you down.
Don't shout me down just because I'm preaching good.
What's that? Where'd you get that from?
Oh, I used to preach a lot in churches around here, and sometimes some of the churches I go to, they just get real excited with their amens and their praise the Lord, and you couldn't even hear me preach, and I'd go, don't shout me down just because I'm preaching good.
It's like an old Beatles concert. Women are screaming.
Yeah, it was almost like that sometimes. It really was. But I've been to some fabulous churches, all kinds of churches, from your real quiet, stone-faced, look like the North Wind kind of church, to your kind of wild dancing in the aisles kind of church.
Do you ever go to one of those churches where they have like the rattlesnakes?
Oh Lord, no, I'm not. That if I did that and got bit by a snake, that would be contributory negligence on my part.
Open and obvious, as they
open and obvious contributory negligence. What were you thinking? And as Jesus said to Satan, when Satan tried to get him to jump off the temple and splash himself and say, but you won't splash because your Father's going to send the angels to protect you. And Jesus looked at him and says, tempt not the Lord thy God. So I mean, sure, I know the angels would save me, but I'm not going to tempt my Father by putting him in that spot. And we shouldn't do that either. That's why we ought to wear a mask. That's why we ought to get vaccinations.
Yes.
That's why we ought to take care of ourselves. Oh, well, Jesus will take care of me. Well, don't count on it.
Oh.
I love Jesus, and I know Jesus is capable of any kind of miracle. But he said, tempt not the Lord thy God.
Yeah, help yourself.
And also, when he went into an unbelieving village and they were like pestering him, I always said, well, heal that person over there. Help that over there. He goes, there are a lot of widows in Israel when Elijah was here, and he only helped one. I'm out of here, dudes.
Peace.
And he left just because of the hardness of their hearts. And because of the hardness of those people's hearts, there were probably a lot of widows and sick people in that village that could have benefited from Jesus' presence, but they didn't get to because of the hardness of other people's hearts. And that's what I'm seeing right now, is the hardness of so many hearts that it's affecting our entire planet.
Yeah, man.
I think a lot of our climate problems now is because men have been so greedy for the whole history of mankind that we've decided to just rape the planet and let our grandchildren worry about it. What kind of Christian is that? That's the kind of Christian Jesus described this way. They honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Word, man.
If you're not being Christian, just don't be a dick. That's the truth of it, Vic, because people are just insane. And you and I have talked about this so many times, how it's just the individuals becoming so encapsulated in their own little worlds with a cell phone, a computer, and and social media that they're just losing themselves. They've lost themselves.
Now, most people will not understand what I'm talking about, but in one place, Jesus refers to the abomination of desolation. And he's referring to something that the prophet Daniel talked about.
Okay.
And through my prayer life and meditation, I'm concerned that if we do not get ourselves straight as a people soon, I believe we're already entering the abomination of the desolation. Now, a lot of people think that means some antichrist standing, doing his thing. No. To me, what it means is our beautiful planet that God created is being destroyed. That's the abomination. And the abomination is the desolation of this planet because of the greed and evil in men's hearts. I don't mean we think evil so it's going to destroy the planet. No, I mean it's been an ongoing process.
Sure.
And if you go back and read Daniel, he said that the abomination of the desolation will be so bad that it would have ended the world if God had not stopped it before its time. In other words, allowed the world to heal itself and come back. You know, and I hope we're not getting to that post-apocalyptic kind of place.
I hope not.
And the only way not to, people, is to repent. And I don't mean that old-fashioned kind of revival preacher repent. The word repent means just stop doing it the way you're doing it and go the other way.
Be good.
Be good. Be excellent to each other.
Yes. Where's your action figure? You know, was it your birthday or Christmas?
Hey.
Well, there's that one, but I bought you a Bill and Ted action figure.
Oh, I learned my lesson from Sheldon on TV
What did
when
you
he
do?
had his in-the-box action figure and somebody ripped it open. Actually, it's the guy who plays Data on Star Trek.
Yeah. It's funny.
And it ruined the value. And you gave that to me, and I love it so much. I have it hanging on my wall at home, up in my study, still in the package.
I like it.
Yeah. So he's sealed in there like
wild stallions.
like Han Solo, but you can see through it and see that he's there.
Kryptonite. Not kryptonite. That's Superman.
That's Superman. Yeah. No, he was in that seal meal bag that Jabba the Hutt put him in.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot what I called it. I'm brushing my Star Wars lately. Whew. So what do you think, man? You want to maybe lead or read some reviews here? We've got a lot of input, dude, in these last few months,
Haven't we?
and of course, global audience for the Netflix show, and people see it all the time,
All the time.
over, and we're getting stuff weekly.
Yeah.
It's
And
amazing.
not only that, there are a lot of people just now discovering our podcast.
Yeah.
We check our numbers every once in a while, and we know there are people just now discovering the podcast because we're getting a lot of listens on our early
episodes, people starting
Yes.
out. I like it. Do you want me to read one of these?
Yeah, read one of those, and then
don't
let me forget though. I want to talk about the state bar resolution. I got the plaque.
Yeah, there's some
Yes.
there's some cool news on the front in your social life over here,
Yeah.
and professional life.
And I think I've already showed this. My friend Gabe Ruby got me that.
That's cool.
That's even my orange notebook. It's Sri Lankan orange, and I put my crazy thoughts in there. And I go back later and put those in books like
Book of Secrets.
Rhino, Sharks, and Unicorns.
I like it.
Matter of fact, if you'd rather have a Rhino, Sharks, and Unicorns, tell us that in the email. And I have 3 or 4 of those laying around here.
Do you guys still have a couple floating around?
Yeah, I'll sign it and send it to you free of charge, and we'll pay the shipping.
I like it.
Yeah.
We want you to have these things.
We want you to have it.
We need you to have these things.
We do, because we're trying to change the world, man.
It reads the book or it gets the hose again, Vic.
Do what?
I said it reads the book or it gets the hose again. Oh, God. Anywho, so I like this review actually you printed this one out. I printed it out too, but I like it because it came from South America. Ooh,
This is the lady from Peru.
this one from Peru. So
Yay.
it says, and I quote, "Good afternoon, Mr. Feazell. I apologize in advance for this meddling and for disturbing you out of nowhere.
Oh, you're so sweet.
My name is Gabriella, and I greet you from Peru in South America." That's cool.
Hello, Gabriella.
I just came from watching the Netflix documentary in which you participated. I just wanted to tell you that I admire you very deeply. What you did required a lot of courage. You didn't just face and fight against what you believed was an injustice. You also had to question a system that you respected, and all that to defend your values and principles. Hey, you are one of the most upright men I have ever seen.
Aw.
And I come from a country in which corruption is the norm, and sometimes it seems that there are no good guys. I'm sure people like you make the difference. So I'm very sorry to know what your honesty cost you, but I hope you live a life of happiness these days. Please excuse my English. That was good.
That was
very well
great
done.
English, Gabriella. And thank you for taking the time to write
That's
us.
cool.
I totally appreciate it. Peru's not the only country with corrupt officials. That's
there's
part
a
of
lot
the
going on
problem
down
with
there.
Haiti. That's why we got so many people at our border. I would send the Marines to Haiti and get rid of those people down there that are the crooks. Get rid of the people that the people under the bridge are afraid of, so they could go home and then feel safe and let them rebuild their country. We ought to be helping Guatemala with soil preservation and everything we can do to help the farmers down there. That's why they're leaving. They're starving. We should be helping in El Salvador and other countries where they're risking their lives to get up here, because we have to follow the law. We have to follow our immigration laws. And it's sad that it's not working in their country. So the best way to kill a tree or to kill something, a weed, is not to pluck the leaves off, but take an axe to the root, pull it up. We need to pull up the root. We should have never gone to Iraq or Afghanistan. We should have followed this side of the Monroe Doctrine, and stayed in the Western Hemisphere and taken care of things here so that people could be safe at home.
Yeah.
If I ever get to be president, and when I'm 90, I might run for president. And if we've still got these kinds of issues, our Marines will be down there straightening it out, because I think we could get it done in less than a year, put in an elected government of good people, because we share common languages, we share common religions, we share common cultures. There's a lot of family there. If I were president, I would normalize relations with Cuba and the rest of the civilized world as well. I'd do everything I could to make Puerto Rico a state. I've been to Puerto Rico. Beautiful place. Beautiful, friendly people, man.
Yeah.
Hawaii's a state. It's a lot further away than Puerto Rico.
True.
But now, that was a land grab. I don't know if you know about the history of Hawaii, but we basically stole that place.
Yeah.
But it's a state. Why isn't Puerto Rico a state? If they want to talk about racism, let's not talk about Haitians trying to break the law at the border. Right. Let's talk about American subjects in Puerto Rico, and why aren't they citizens? So anyway, I know I'm probably pissing off half the people that listen to us right now. When I run for president, here's my slogan.
All right.
Here's my slogan. Because you could do worse, and you probably will.
Oh.
But here's another choice. And I would not run as a Democrat or a Republican.
What would you run as?
Independent. Totally.
Good boy.
Yeah. Because party politics is awful.
Well, and I would say, as of right now, I think more than ever in my lifetime, I'm seeing it just so insane. And I can't help but feel like majority of people know it's a little crazy and they like that middle ground, but it's just no one being offered. Or no one's offering it, rather.
Politics is unchristian, it's unpatriotic, and it's unproductive.
Yeah.
All of it. It's become nothing but a slugfest.
Slugs.
A slugfest by thugs, and nothing gets done. I'm disappointed in both parties. We need a middle path party that's going to unify, rather than just, trying to make people angry all the time.
Yeah.
We need to speak in something other than bumper sticker mentality when we're in the Capitol building.
Yeah.
Let's get real, and let's quit taking stuff out of context. If you take the truth out of context, it is no longer the truth. It's a lie. Don't do it.
It's a damn lie.
Don't do it. The other night I was watching a Star Trek rerun, and Spock said something I just loved. He was asked a question. He says, I do not have the context to answer that. Well, good for him. We shouldn't be answering questions we don't have the context for. All the time on Facebook, I say, do you agree or disagree with this statement? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? What does that mean? Things are not that cut and dry. They're not that simple that you can go, oh, I agree or disagree.
But I read it on Facebook.
I read it on Facebook. It must be true. Hey, are you ready for the Vic Feazell legal tip of the day?
I'm ready.
Oh, that's awful.
All right, I'm ready.
Legal tip for the day.
Feed me.
If you're injured, whether it's in a car wreck or an explosion or a factory accident or whatever, if you're injured and you go to a medical provider, give them your health insurance card and tell them, bill this health insurance. It's not enough just to give them the card and expect them to, because you have to fill out a form and they want to know, how did this injury happen? You know why they want to know that? They don't want to know, oh, I just broke my arm. They want to know how it happened, because if it happened in a car wreck or in anything else that might be covered by someone else's insurance, they want to take that money back out of your insurance recovery, and then they can bill their full bill instead of billing the negotiated rate that they've negotiated with your insurance company. So it's the law. They have to bill your insurance company, but so often they don't. And then we get cases in here that are upside down already because they're holding back the medical bills and saying, no, you got to pay it out of your car wreck settlement. So that's going to be thousands of dollars that you're having to pay back to a hospital that shouldn't be coming out of your pocket because you've been paying insurance premiums all those years. Why the heck have you been paying insurance premiums if the hospital is going to take advantage of you for that and say, no, I'm not going to do that, even though I have a contract with that insurance company to be paid what they're going to pay me? Or our Texas state legislature, the ones that are owned by the insurance companies, and I say that honestly, and I mean it, they're owned by them. Because up in the balcony over the speaker's platform is where all the insurance executives sit, and they wear their little blue blazers, their red blazers for Snake Farm, their green blazers for farmers, and that's called the owner's box.
Yeah.
It would be funny if it weren't so sad. It would. But those legislators have now passed laws, and your 9 Republican Texas Supreme Court has upheld that law that if you're paying insurance premiums to protect yourself, the guy who runs into you and it's his fault, he gets to take advantage of your insurance. Well, not him personally, but his insurance company, because they don't want his insurance company to be out all that money when they can take it out of your pocket. So you've been paying your insurance premiums, he's been paying his insurance premiums, and then if you go and get a settlement, they want your money.
Yes.
It's not fair.
No, it's not.
They passed this law called Paid versus Incurred.
Oh, God.
Gee whiz, which is going to take your $10,000 medical bill that you've been paying insurance for that insurance company to take care of it.
Yeah.
And they say, no, you can't get that $10,000 out of that other insurance company for the drunk driver that hit you.
Yep.
You can't get it. You can only get this $3,000 or $4,000 that they would have been paid by the insurance company. So see what I mean? You're getting screwed on both ends.
Yep.
Thank you, Texas legislature.
Oh, yeah. Just
thank you, Texas Supreme Court.
Perfectly designed system.
You know?
Perfectly designed system to only benefit insurance companies.
And one of the reasons we need a new governor is because we need an insurance commission. Yeah. This kind of stuff used to not happen when Lyndon Olson Jr. was our insurance commissioner. He wouldn't let him get away with that kind of stuff because he was a consumer advocate, not an industry advocate. Yeah. And we need consumer advocates on that insurance commission. And that insurance commission is appointed by the governor. And the governor appoints people who are going to rubber stamp these big insurance companies whose executives sit in the owner's box at the legislature. And they're the biggest contributors to all those people sitting down there taking money from these big corporations and taking money from the insurance industry and selling you down the river. I don't know why you keep voting for them. I don't. Please, people, get off of Facebook for a minute. Get off the phone for a minute and figure out what's going on and go down and vote. If you have to stand in the rain all day long to vote, do it. Because some of you are going to have to stand in the rain all day long because our Republican legislature that's owned by the big businesses has gone and changed our voting laws now. And they've moved boxes in Houston so that for some people, it's going to be an hour drive to get to the box where they need to vote.
Yep.
And the lines are going to be around the block. But people, you got to gut up. You just got to gut up and do it. Or else there ain't going to be a hen house anymore. There won't be a chicken house. There's just going to be a fox house. You talk about the foxes in the hen house or in the chicken house? The foxes own the chicken house now. Us chickens got to stick together, man. We do. We do. Or we're just going to have feathers hanging out of those foxes' mouths while they sit on their yachts having boat drinks, and laughing at how dumb we are because we let them get away with it. Please, please, please. And I'm telling you, none of you want to have yourself arrested or have your child arrested, because you can get arrested easy, easy. Now you got, if it's a bogus charge, you can get out of it. But the problem is that time in between. And you don't want to be sitting in a COVID jail. You don't want your son or daughter in a COVID jail just because they can't afford to bail out.
Right.
You may not be able to afford that bail money to get them out, but you can afford to go vote. You cannot afford not to.
Right.
It's gotten that bad, people. And our planet is on the verge of dying in the next 50 years. The abomination of desolation.
Yeah.
That's what it really is.
Great.
Do something about it. You've got to exercise your constitutional right to vote. And you got to start telling your politicians. And like I said, I'm not either party. I don't like some of the crazy things I see the Democrats doing. Mm-hmm. I didn't like hearing our vice president complaining about the horses on the border. I never saw a horse step on anybody. I never saw him knock anybody down. What are they going to do? Replace them with four-wheelers? They're going to be running over people's feet? Oh, four-wheelers, okay, I guess, because we all grew up in the city and we've never seen a beautiful quarter horse. Those were the most beautiful quarter horses I've ever seen. And that one that kept going back and forth, that thing was trained. They're trained to take one steer or one cow out of the herd and keep it out without hurting it, without running over it. And that cowboy on top, he was a good rider. When I lived in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, I was in 6th and 7th grade or 5th and 6th there or something like that. Such a small town, 70 miles away from the nearest other town. We didn't even have a football team, but we had a high school rodeo.
What?
I used to participate in the high school rodeo. And when I wasn't participating, I was watching. And I used to watch those quarter horses, and I know a good one when I see it. And those were good horses. Now, I know a lot of bleeding hearts, and I am a bleeding heart, are concerned about the horses down there, but somebody was trying to break our law, was trying to force them way physically into this country. They have no right to do that. They don't. And I hope we can get it straightened out and get everybody where they need to be as soon as possible. I wish we didn't have the needs for those horses, but I'm telling you, the horses are better than four-wheelers. The horses are better than tasing them, and the horses are better than, get this, what if suddenly they do break through? The horses aren't there. Nothing's there, and they do break through and they start heading north. What if Bubba gets his deer rifle? What if 10 Bubbas get their deer rifles and start going out there and picking people off thinking they're doing their patriotic duty? And don't think that's out of line. Don't think I'm being crazy here, because it happened January 6th, where a whole lot of people thought they were doing the right thing. They thought they were doing God's will. They thought they were being patriotic, and they stormed the Capitol with intent to injure people. Oh, yeah. Hang Mike Pence, they were saying. They had zip ties in their pockets. They wanted to hang Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence.
Yep.
Oh, my God. Both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Stunning.
And so if that can happen, I'm telling you, there can be Bubbas on the border killing people, and we don't want that to happen. So it's got to stop at the border. It's got to stop with law enforcement. You know, they need to be the ones dealing with it, not private citizens.
Yeah, that's true too.
And we got to let them deal with it.
Deal with it.
We've got to let them deal with it, and we cannot allow this country to be invaded. And I tell you, if Vladimir Putin is the guy that we all think he is, he's got people down there ready to sneak in with every crowd that comes in. You know, we've got to enforce our laws. When I was DA, I was an anomaly. You know, I'm very sweet and loving and inclusive on one side of the spectrum, but I'm very law enforcement. We got to enforce our laws on the other. And part of enforcing our laws is doing it fairly. Don't lie. Don't tase people. And please, policemen, I love so many of you. They're just a few bad apples, but those of you, go to the firing range and practice. You can do it most of the time for free. I have to pay big bucks to go do it. You can do it for free because you don't have to hit a kill spot every time somebody holds up their cell phone or you think they got a knife and they're 30 feet away. Learn how to shoot that thing, get comfortable with it so that when you pull it out of the holster, you don't have that sudden adrenaline rush that makes you pull that trigger 6 times when you only meant to pull it once. And my heart goes out to you because I know that comes from a place of fear, and I would be afraid too. But the more you use that firearm, the more you practice with it, the better you'll get, and you won't be lethal with it unless you intend to be. And if you intend to be, then you probably need to be. You know? So do it right. Do it right.
Do it right.
Do it right.
Why don't we wrap this episode with some of the cool things you've been up to? Show me your plaque. What is this thing?
I got this.
I got this
in the mail. They sent it to me. I was going to get to go live to the annual board of directors meeting for the State Bar of Texas. Thank you, Jonathan. I was going to get to go live to the board of directors meeting for the State Bar of Texas, and this was going to be presented to me by the president of the State Bar.
I like it.
But we had to do it on Zoom.
Yeah.
And he presented this resolution. It's titled "A Resolution Honoring Vic Feazell."
I love it. The Texas Bar, baby, coming
the
down.
Texas Bar.
Honoring Vic.
And the president of the State Bar actually apologized to me in front of the entire board for what the bar did to me back in 1987.
Yes.
Because after I was found not guilty, Colonel Jim Adams and his political buddies couldn't stand it that I had beat their bogus charges.
Yeah.
And so they came after my law license with the State Bar. Well, these guys here knew that in trial they wouldn't be able to beat me because I'd already been found not guilty, man.
Yeah.
But I was so tired. I was so broke. I had the Ed Graff trial that was just about to start, and I needed to be dealing with that. So I worked out a deal for a 2-year probated suspension, which means if I'd gotten in any trouble for 2 years, that'd just yank my license. It's like being on parole and getting it yanked, getting it revoked. But I served that 2 years successfully. Yeah. While I was trying murder cases, I convicted Ed Graff. Yeah. The jury convicted him, but I prosecuted Ed Graff.
There you go.
While I was on this State Bar suspension.
Crazy.
Yeah, probated suspension. So anyway, this goes through a whole lot of things I have done, including the Henry Lee Lucas thing. Yeah. And they apologized to me. The president did, and the board presented me with this beautiful plaque
that cool, man.
I will always honor.
Well, it's like a lifetime achievement award, you know.
It kind of is.
It's really cool.
It kind of
really
is.
Cool they did that for you.
You know, but for me, I'm only middle-aged because I'm 70, and I know I'm going to live to be 140. I'm not going to tell you how I know that, but I know. The aliens told me one time.
Oh, God. All right. Well, you know. Whatever.
Yeah. No, I've just always known that since I was 13. Unless I'm in a car wreck.
And that's a whole nother episode to go into that.
That's a whole nother episode, yes.
So there was the resolution, but something else just happened recently, which is even more hilarious.
I don't know if I should talk about that.
I mean, that's up to you if you want to talk about it.
Well, it's not confidential. I guess I could.
Well, it's not. It's super cool because it's a full circle thing and it ties in with that.
Yeah, it is full circle, isn't it?
Lay it on me, dude. What happened?
It was the District 8 Grievance Committee that came after my law license in 1987.
Okay.
They're the ones that I worked out the deal with, you know, and all that. District 8, that covers nearly all of Central Texas.
Cool.
Now, all these years later, last month, I was appointed to be on the District 8 Grievance Committee. So now I'm a voting member of the District 8 Grievance Committee.
I like it.
And my main thing I want to do on the Grievance Committee is, number one, lawyers should not be stealing from anybody. If you're stealing from somebody, you're not going to get any sympathy from me. But number two, the grievance system should not be something that can be weaponized.
Oh, of course.
Just against somebody you don't like.
Right. And I could totally see that happen.
You have clients doing it. Now, I've never had a client file a grievance on me. True. Never in my whole career.
True.
And I've been practicing for over 40 years. Mm-hmm. Never had a client file a grievance on me. I had the District 8 file their own grievance, thanks to Colonel Jim Adams.
Yeah.
But never a client. And then I've had a couple federal judges. One federal judge.
Oh, my God.
Walter.
Oh, Walter Smith.
Yeah, Walter filed a couple grievances on him. Yeah.
That's stunning.
He's not on the bench anymore.
I am not surprised.
He was removed for sexually harassing his staff. But, you know,
Oh, God.
All I do is try to do what's right, and sometimes you're going to get picked on for that, you know?
But I think it's really cool, Vic, because you want to know that the people on that board are going to be level-headed, or that committee. And so I'm happy when you came down and told me that, because there's like this karmic just loop back around. It's like, the ones who the oppressors have now welcomed you in. So it's great to see a change of heart, obviously, for them to let you in, but also because I know how you were incredibly fair and level-minded. It's cool to know that you'll be on that.
Well, one thing, that District 8 Grievance Committee now has nobody on it that was on it in 87. I think they're all dead.
Man, probably.
You know? Every time
You've outlived them all.
Every time I wonder where this guy is. Oh, I'll tell you about one the other day.
Yeah, you just pull it up and find the obituary. Like, ooh.
Well, here's what happened. I thought of the name, and I said, well, I wonder where he is. Wonder what he's up to, because I want to stay out of his way. I've forgiven him a long time ago, but I want to stay out of his way. And I was about to Google it, and I'd already typed the name in, and I felt something. You know, when I have a thought, it just passes through. I know it's my thought.
Spidey senses were tingling?
This thought was like impressed on me.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when I know it's God talking to me.
Ooh.
And the thought impressed on me was, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
Ooh.
That's a cool verse. Now, people are always quoting the verse, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Sure.
Eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I'm going to take your eye. I'm going to pull your tooth. Well, no. They never quote the second part of it. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So that means he's the one that's with karma going to be taking the eye and the tooth and all that. Eventually, judgment is done. The arc of the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Okay?
I like that.
So there's nobody on that grievance committee anymore that's live. But anyway, I Google this guy, and I get this on me. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I'm thinking, I wasn't planning any vengeance, Lord. And the first thing that popped up was his obituary.
Wow.
He died in December. He's younger than me.
Whoa.
And he just had a stroke and fell over, man.
God. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, he lied. He lied big time.
Not a good person.
He wasn't a good
Not
person.
a good person.
So, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
Yeah. Well, cool, man.
Be good, everybody. Do the right thing. Pay it forward. And if you haven't watched The Chosen on TV, Google it, The Chosen. You can get an app that'll stream straight to your TV. It's about the life of Jesus, and it's a drama. It's not a documentary. It's got real actors. They're filming it right here in Texas, and it's so beautiful. It is just so beautiful. They've just finished their second season, and it's free. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Free 50.
And it could change your life. Please watch it. Hi, I'm Vic Feazell. During these trying times, you might want to just stay home. And at the law offices of Vic Feazell, we understand. That's why we're set up to handle your personal injury claim without you even having to come in. Just give us a call, and we'll take it from there. We can send any paperwork straight to your smartphone or computer. Don't delay, because if we don't put money in your pocket, you don't owe us anything. I'm Vic Feazell.